Our Stewart County Commissioner Eula Clarke to you today as both our featured speaker and also the recipient of our 2015 Susan B. Anthony Award. Let me tell you a little bit about Eula. I'm sure many of you here know much more about Eula than I do, but I'm going to summarize her illustrious past. The daughter of a Jamaican cane cutter who worked for U.S. Sugar, Eula Rose Robinson Clarke came to the United States as a teenager and immediately began pursuing the education that has enabled her to succeed in 3 careers: as an urban planner, as an attorney, and as an elected official. She earned a Bachelor of Arts and a Master of Science in Urban and Regional Planning from Florida State University in 1981. She first served Martin County as a senior planner at the county's Growth Management Department. At the young age of 39, she went to the University of Florida to start over and get a JD degree and returned to Martin County to practice law in 1997. She now focuses her practice on family law, dependency and children's law, immigration, probate and guardianship, estate planning, civil and contract matters. Eula has served on the Stewart City Commission since 2011 and was mayor in 2013. She was named the Elected Official of the Year at the 22nd Annual Conference of the Florida Commission for the Transportation of Disadvantaged. Throughout the years in her spare time, Eula has volunteered with a number of nonprofit and public service organizations of amazing breadth, including the Martin County Land Trust, the Gertrude Walden Daycare Center, Stewart Main Street, the Children's Services Council, Martin County Council for the Aging, the Father and Child Resource Center, All Stars Soccer, and her church. Most importantly, she was a founding member of both the Martin County Black Heritage Association and of our own league, the League of Martin County. The League of Women Voters, Eula, if you could come up. The League of Women Voters of Martin County is pleased and proud to present our 2015 Susan B. Anthony Award to one who has given so much of her time and her talent in government service and in improving the lives of so many here in her community. Thank you very much.
16, and here the pictures prove it. A young girl from the island of Jamaica, I'm not young anymore, receiving the award from the League of Women Voters, which represents the fact that women have come out and have done some things in the community. Thank you very much. Before I just start to say, I have a few words to share with you today, but I just wanted to make sure that you can't get this far and do things without family. And my sister practically came all the way from Jamaica to be here today. My niece is here, and my brother has sent a friend to represent him. And I'd just like to ask Violet Smith, who doesn't want to stand up or say anything, to my sister Violet, my oldest sister. If you'd stand up so they can see you, please. And Trishana is here representing my brother and his law firm and our family of friendship, Trishana Gifford. My niece, Tashika Knight. And I have my friend from high school who's in the same group with my sister, Lorene Witter from Hampton High School. This is where I get all of my education. This is not a chamber of commerce, everybody, but I just wanted to recognize in the room, Kerry was recognized as from the Supervisor of Elections Office. We have Mr. Tom Campani, who's our City of Stewart Commissioner, here with us. He's fairly new, so. And Betty Jane Bedell was here. You mentioned about the league starting. We started back after Maggie Herchella had started the league, and then it had dropped for a few years. Back in the late 80s, we started again, and Betty Jane came, but she had to leave, and so that was something very special. I'm just thankful that Linda Grant and Noreen and Jane and so many others thought it not robbery to recognize me today. And I really appreciate this. I appreciate the special friendship of Mrs. Grant, Donna, Marilyn Mortis, my friend Daphne, so many of you. You're all very, very, very special. I just want to say that sometimes you say the sun rises and sets on certain things. Well, apparently my hats has caused Jackie to wonder what hat will she wear today. So it's just one of those things. But I just want to just really, really thank you so much. My husband is working in the snow up north, so he could not be here. He's all the way in Omaha, Nebraska, and he's working hard. My son, who just finished American University School of Law, he's up in Washington, D.C. in the cold also. And my only other son, I just have two boys, Chad Clarke, he is in the military in Italy. So none of my other family members, so I'm just so glad that my sister is here and that my friends are here. And I have friends like Howard Gilman, who, just like Susan B. Anthony, was up and down in sleet and snow. Howard has been out campaigning with me on his scooter and all over the place. And thank you, Howard, for coming out. Thank you so much. I prepared my speech today with probably one or two people in mind, but especially Dr. Willie J. Thompson, who has been a mentor for me in this community, who has been somebody who says, Eula, no matter what people say, you can do it. And just do what you got to do, honey, because you know that everybody's going to talk. So I just want to say that I'm just so happy that, you know, he's here and that he's helping me and continue to help me. One person who's been continuing to help me also in this time, trying to reorganize and try to deal with all the issues with my office and working as a city commissioner, as a lawyer, is my good friend Carmen Rydell. And without her, my speech wouldn't be ready today. So I just want to thank her in advance. We've come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord. Yes, we have come this far by faith. Susan Brownell Anthony came far, far away. February 15th, 1820, in Adams, Massachusetts. She started this journey for all of us. And through her faith, with her Quaker family, with brothers, sisters, mother, father, helping to nurture her, helping to teach her, even at a time when women were not supposed to get out and speak and read and do certain things, she was being helped in that family because the Quaker families were doing something a little bit different from others, and women had a chance and an opportunity. So yes, like Virginia Slims would say, although we're not smoking here today, baby, you've come a long way. And I can tell it. I came across the waters. My father, Llewellyn Robinson, and my mother, Cecilia Robinson, both of them deceased, they came. It's a little bit tricky because my father came as a sugarcane cutter. We have issues with sugarcane now, but we all eat sweets. We're eating sweets right now. And yes, it's been a long time with issues with South Florida and the industry, but that is how I came to America. I'm not ashamed of it. My father came as an itinerant worker, and he worked his way up into the industry where he got to manage other people. His family was taken off the contract in 1967, and I came to the United States in 1975, went to Palm Beach Junior College, and then went on to Florida State University. I've been here in the trenches in South Florida a long time, and I really, really appreciate this opportunity to really show my honor to somebody like Susan B. Anthony, who was a suffragist. She fought for the rights of women. When women got married during that time, they lost their property rights. They didn't have any. She fought for the rights of women and also even of men, because at that time there were so many issues going on with the family. And when men drank during the temperance movement and the prohibitionist movement, there were issues going on. We talk about domestic violence nowadays. Women were not treated right, they didn't have the rights, and there also men would not treat them right, especially if they were drinking. Susan B. Anthony was not somebody who was married. She wasn't married. She didn't have to worry about a husband coming home and beat her. But she knew the importance of doing something for someone else. In fact, her friend Elizabeth Cady Stanton said, "Not for ourselves." And when you get into this business, whether it's politics, whether it's fighting for the river, whether it's fighting for children's rights, whether it's trying to help someone in their homework or whatever issue it is, it's not because you're a black person or you're a white person or you're somebody who has money or you're somebody who has children or no children or grandparents. You're not doing it because it's related to you personally. You're doing it because it's not for ourselves. If she were to sit around and say, I don't really want to own property, I don't want to get married, I don't have any children, then guess what? She would not have done all the things that she delved in and got herself involved with. She put her whole mind, her whole body, her whole soul into it. I just want to compare a little bit with Susan B. Anthony. Like I said, she did have a Quaker upbringing. I grew up in the Episcopal Church in Jamaica, confirmed, baptized in the Episcopal Church, and that gave me a great sense of having something to do with a connectivity, having that spiritual connectivity. Also gave me a great sense of how important it is to have a good education and to just learn how to comport myself and to make sure that there's that social responsibility, doing for others. The Quakers met in a meeting house. We have a meeting house, and I'm so glad. God is good. I'm sorry, this is the League of Women Voters, this is not church, but Lorraine Whittick is here. We have the meeting house in Jamaica where I grew up, where I learned to read, where I learned to do poetry, where I learned to do singing. The meeting house is named after her brother, who died as a member of government in Jamaica, and we named that meeting house after him. If you go to our Facebook page, you can see it there. And it's so funny, she called me all the way from Fort Lauderdale, and she says, "Rose," they call me Rose at home, "Rose, what are you doing? It's Valentine's weekend, I want to come up and see you." I said, "Well, I'm very busy, I have a lot of things going on in Stewart, but on Monday, we're having a luncheon." And I said, "Please come on up." And so that's how she came here. But I'm telling you, that meeting house where we went on Sunday evenings, that gave me the groundation so that I can stand before you in Stewart, Florida today and say, I have come a long way, and I am standing on the shoulders of Susan B. Anthony and all the things that she did. There's one lady who's not here today, Vine Nichols. When I sent out some emails maybe about 10 or 12 days ago, I asked folks, to reserve, do whatever they need to do. Vi sent me an email in response, and I'd like to read this. She wrote, in 1918, My mom marched with the suffragettes in Hastings, Michigan, when she was 18 years old. When she returned to the farm, her family was mortified. Soon after, she left the farm, worked in one of the factories in Battle Creek, attended a Methodist seminary in her early 30s, when women didn't do that type of thing. Many of my mom's friends were the wives of pastors or missionaries in Africa, India, and points beyond. Susan B. Anthony was one of her idols. She learned all about the Seneca Falls Convention and the women's suffrage movement at her mother's knees. She said her mom married well into her 30s and I was her only child. So from a Christian perspective, I got a double dose of her passions related to equal rights for everyone. Your email, Eula, brought a smile to my face in remembrance of Susan B. Anthony and her good friend Elizabeth Cady Stanton. So it is just so important that we know that somebody is out there and that we are standing on their shoulders because they did the heavy lifting for us. Susan B. Anthony went out in hail, sleet, and snow to get petitions signed. How many people have signed the river petition? How many people have signed the not all against Florida? Oh,
yeah, we know.
Okay. And those are just simple things. There are other things. There are other things to do with children. There are other things to do with civil rights. There are all kinds of stuff to do with homelessness. All kinds of things out there. And sometimes we just don't do it. She gave her mind, her strength, her body to walk up and down all over the place to get petitions signed so that changes could happen. To me, Susan B. Anthony was a complete woman. And like I said before, that doesn't mean that you have to have children, you have to be married, you have to have property, you have to be rich, but it just means that she wanted to work hard and do the best that she can. In fact, even before women had the right to vote in 1872, she went and she voted in an election. Anybody knows what happened to her? She went to jail.
Yeah.
She went to jail, okay? And lots of other women also went to jail. I have a friend who's been espousing a lot of ideas about the river. And they're saying, you know, we can't do it because it's federal property down there. There are all kinds of things happening. We're going to go to jail if we do it. And Eula, you can't be involved because you're a politician and you just can't do certain things. But these women did what they believed in, and they went to jail. Okay? So this is so very, very important that we really understand what she was all about. Growing up, I mentioned about with the meeting house, she grew up on a farm. I grew up in the country. We had everything from chocolate trees to mint trees to sugarcane trees, banana trees, whatever it is. All our fruits and vegetables, self-sufficient. We grew up with that in my home in Jamaica. That's what my experience is about. I'm a gardener now, and I share my gardening tricks and trades with Mabel Witham here. And there's so many things that I try to do. I share some with Mrs. Grant's husband sometimes, and Dr. Thompson. But those are part of me. That's a part of me. That's who I am. Another thing that I compare a little bit of myself with Susan B. Anthony, and I have a good friend here, Audrey Valentine. I think Audrey we had boarding school. I was a day girl, but we had boarding school. But at school, we wore underneath our clothing what we call bloomers, or knickers. Okay, I hear Audrey saying yes. Okay, And so we had knickers and we had our bloomers underneath. She wore bloomers. At the time there were longer pants, bloomers, but she wore bloomers to get out there in the sleet and snow. Not a popular type of clothing. It didn't last very long, and they kind of ended that era of clothing. But in Jamaica we still wear bloomers. Maybe it's something from our colonial days, but people wear it even with shorter dresses. They wear bloomers. So I think when I read that about Susan B. Anthony, I said, oh, good, we had something in common. She had bloomers, and we had bloomers too. Susan B. Anthony and why we celebrate her and why we have a day for her and why not somebody else and why the League of Women Voters exist and what's happening. It's all very important. And in fact, being a Stewart City Commissioner, I had a little piece of history passed on to me very recently. We just did the home tour. But if you're in Stewart, in Haney Circle, anybody know Haney Circle in front of Duffy's? Haney Circle was donated by Mrs. Porter with the Porter Owl House, and we have a legendary Stewart history person here, Miss Alice Lockhart. But Haney Circle was donated because of Mrs. Haney. And Mrs. Haney it was named for her. Mrs. Haney was a suffragist at the time, and she would just drive around town and do all kinds of stuff. Mabel remembers her driving in a blue Ford or something, tall vehicle. And so that Haney Circle is our little piece of the fact that somebody followed the same path, the same trends as Susan B. Anthony and made a name for themselves right here in little old Stewart and have a place named after them. Now, unlike Susan B. Anthony, who did not want any monuments named after her, and people have tried, and of course one of the things that was named, was done in her honor, was they have the house up there out of Massachusetts, but the dollar. And I think my niece Tashika has put out the Susan B. Anthony dollar. It's a real dollar from Seacoast Bank, okay? And they actually gave me the write-up on it. So actually the Florida Community Bank gave me the write-up. The dollars came from Seacoast. But these are real dollars. For those of you who don't know much about Susan B. Anthony, and they're not that many, they're only 20. So if you need me to autograph it or something, there are only 20 of these. But that's all about Susan B. Anthony. 1920. However, in 2020, it's going to be another 100 years gone by for both things. And lots of stuff are going on at the national level, and I'm sure that this league is probably well aware. And we have 5 years, guys. 5 years to do something big. Let us, little group here in Martin County, do something big to celebrate and honor Susan B. Anthony, and not just her, but somebody else or whatever it is that we need to do. I have also, my niece has handed out these crowns. There's a famous poet and writer, James Baldwin. This month, February, is Black History Month. James Baldwin says that your crown has already been bought and paid for. All you have to do is wear it. And if you know Oprah Winfrey, she has this whole paid forward routine, okay? All you have to do is wear it. This crown is symbolic. I put one on each table. The SBA, it just doesn't mean Susan Brownell Anthony. At this time, I'm conferring on all of you an honorary SBA degree. This degree is called Super Builder and Achiever. So you will go forth from here, you'll be a super builder and achiever. You'll have your SBA degree. Those of you who have never had a formal university degree, you now have one from me. I just I just want to close by saying that I believe that Susan B. Anthony, and I'll use the words of my great friend, Countess Titania, who put a note to me on Facebook this morning, and she said, monumental woman. But again, it's Black History Month. I'd like to use the words of Maya Angelou and say that Susan B. Anthony was a phenomenal woman. And I'd just like to say the words of Maya Angelou, and if you listen to the key chorus or the repetitive stanza at the end, you will hopefully get something and walk away from today's luncheon with something in your heart and in your mind. And I'll say the poem, but then I'm going to say a few more words after that. Okay. So I believe that Susan B. Anthony was a great woman, a phenomenal woman, and she brought out something in people like Maya Angelou, who were fighting for the rights of Black women, feminism as a whole, coming forward. And we still are going that route, ladies and gentlemen. We still have to plug through that fight in today's time. So, pretty woman wonder, where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size. But when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride in my steps, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenal woman, that's me. I walk into a room just as cool as you please, and to a man the fellas stand or fall down on their knees. Then they swarm around me, a hive of honeybees. I say, it's the fire in my eyes, the flash of my teeth, the swing in my waist, the joy in my feet. I am a woman, phenomenal woman, that's me. And for Lloyd Jones and Tom Campany and Dave Dew, men themselves wonder just what they see in me. They try so much, but they can't touch my inner mystery. Sorry. And when I tried to show them, I didn't mean to call you guys out. And when I tried to show them, they say they just can't see. I say, it's in the arch of my back, the sun in my smile, the ride in my breast, the grace of my style. I am a woman, phenomenal woman. That's me. Now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't jump. I'm sorry. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. Now when you see me passing, it ought to make you proud. I say it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palms of my hand, the need for my care. I am a woman, phenomenal woman. That's me. That is the belief and the hope of all of us, because that was what Susan B. Anthony lived. She lived the life of a phenomenal woman. She lived the life so that somebody like Maya Angelou, who can come through all kinds of bad experiences. Not everybody who has a bad social experience is going to end up being in the jail cell. But let me tell you something. These phenomenal women stood before us. We're standing on their shoulders. Susan B. Anthony worked tirelessly to get the right to vote for women. People don't vote nowadays. Or people just vote when they want to just vote for one person, county commission or president or somebody else. Or they'll even come to a meeting and say, I'm only going to vote for the treasurer. I don't care what you have on the slate. So we need to really get people involved, ignite them, involve, make sure that people get that sense that if we don't do it, if we don't do something. Susan B. Anthony was a fighter. And when I say fighter, I don't mean fist fighter. I'm talking about Sir Robert Nesta Marley, a Jamaican hero reggae artist, who said, get up, stand up. Abel, where's my... This is Susan B. Anthony. The women in the temperance movement, they had their handkerchiefs, or white handkerchiefs, when they wanted to show something that was very important. Bob Marley, get up, stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up, don't give up the fight. This is what we need today. This is how we need to comport ourselves. We need to learn, we need to study, and we need to act. Because this is what it's all about, to recognize that someone did it for us and we must move forward and continue to leave a legacy for others. Thank you so very much.